This video is just to go over how to edit a financial report. In this case, we're going to be looking at the profit and loss report. So we're going to go into accounting, and under reporting, we can find our profit and loss and come to Odoo's out of the box profit and loss report. Fairly common customization is to be able to see a section of other expenses underneath the expenses. And since we can't add another account type inside of Odoo, this is just a way to get that functionality of seeing other expenses in a fourth category located above net profit. So from here, we're just going to take a quick look at our chart of accounts. And we'll just go down to our expenses, and we can see we've got two groups of expense. We can see that one is located in the 600,000 range, and then the other one's just located in the 800,000 range. So from that, what we're going to do is we're going to go into account groups right here, and we'll go ahead and just quickly create two groups for those. We'll do expenses. The code prefix is just going to filter it to whatever level you have. You could do 6.3 to 6.4. In this case, since we want all of the 600,000s, we're just going to do 6 to 6. So we'll go ahead and save that. And we'll go ahead and create another one for other expenses. And that one will just have from 8 to 8 for the 800,000 group. So we'll go ahead and save that. Go back to our list view. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go into Studio. And under existing fields, I'm just going to drag in ID. So we can see that those are ID 1 and 2, since I've never created another group before. And we can go ahead and close that. And we're just going to take a quick jump back to our chart of accounts. And right here, I'm just going to select group to visualize the expense groups we just made. We just hover over group real quick. We can see the field name is group underscore ID, so we'll just remember that. And then we'll just scroll down. We can see that now expenses are separated into those two groups that we want. And what we're going to do now is go into our financial report. So let's enter that and get into profit and loss. So here we can see we've got those three sections in that out of the box profit and loss statement: income, expenses, and net profit. And so we'll start off by going into expenses. So we can see that we've got our section of expenses. It's code LEX. These codes, you can see that expenses and depreciation have one as well, are using the formula up there just to add it. Here for cosmetics level, that's 0. It just means it's going to show up as, one of those sections that we can expand from. And is growth good when positive? Because it's expenses and it means that money inside of that means that we have spent that money, it's not good. So we'll leave that unchecked. Next, we're going to open up that second level of it, that expenses. And what we see inside of there is that we have sequence 1. It's the first one in that subsection. And it's also located in level 2. Growth good when positive, still unchecked. And now we see the formula sum is in those codes. It just says sum, and that's going to be summing the totals in those accounts. Group by is this account ID, so that's going to be our account code. In this case, would be those 600,000s that we're looking at. Our domain, of course, is built up of those account IDs, and then we see that we've got user type ID. And the user type ID is the field of just account type. Our expenses, current liabilities, income, all that. But since we're not using that for this report, we're going to enter that we are now using group ID. And since this is that first one that we did, that group 1, like we saw with the ID that we added into that list view. So So we'll go ahead and save this. Just copy that to make our lives easier later, and go ahead and save that. Save that again. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a line for our other expenses group. So other expenses, let's call it OEX. Sequence 4 is fine, level 0. We're going to unselect growth good when positive. Excuse me. And then we're going to make that other section that will fall from below it. 1, level 2 cosmetically, deselect that again. And we'll call it other expenses. And we'll call this one OE. And we're still going to be grouping by our account numbers. And let's just add our domain right here. And this is the ID of that second group that we made. And again, we are summing this. So we'll save and close that. The formula for this is now OE. And our group by is still account ID, I believe. Let's just double check that. Nope, we don't need that in there. So we save and close that. We can drag this up there. And when we go into the net profit, we can see that its formula for how it calculates is our operating income, other income, minus the cost of goods sold, minus expenses, minus depreciation. All we're going to do is also add in that OEX group that we made. We'll go ahead and save that. Save the financial report. And when we go back to reporting, and back to our profit and loss, we see that now our expenses and other expenses have been broken down based on those groups that we created, and our net profit is still where it was. So that's just one of the customizations that we can do inside financial reports. Obviously, it gives some flexibility based on how we break it down and what we break it down by. And so hopefully this guy will just kind of help lead you into configuring your own financial reports. Thank you.